This happened about 3 years ago. I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment at the time with my husband. After finally moving to the United States, I'm Canadian, and marrying, it was our first home to ourselves, where we would be together all the time. We had been doing long distance for 3 years before that, and as my husband is in the military, sometimes it would be extra long distances on his deployments. At this time, I was about 6 months pregnant, and my husband was gone to a temporary duty station a few states away for a few months, leaving me alone in a new city and a new country. My sister was sweet enough to come and visit me and keep me company during the time he was gone. It was wonderful to have company. I felt much safer with someone I knew there. Our tiny 2-bedroom apartment was on the ground floor. One bedroom had been set up for our baby girl, with a crib, chair, and all of that. The other bedroom was ours, so my sister just bunked with me on our queen-size bed while she visited, to prevent her from sleeping on our uncomfy couch. It had been about a week into her visit, and after doing some shopping and relaxing, my sister decided to hit the hay. I finish up cleaning, lock the apartment, and go to sleep too. The setup to our apartment was a little like this. There was a front door you could access through the hallway, which opened into our kitchen to the right and our laundry room on the left. This was also connected to our living room, so it was a wide open space. The nursery was off to the left, our bedroom off to the right, and we had a sliding glass door at the back of the living room that opened to a small concrete patio and some grass. It was about 4 a.m., and being extremely rotund, I was a light sleeper. I had been tossing and turning and awoke to a light shining in my face. I cracked open my eyelid and shot up immediately with a scream. There, in my bedroom doorway, was a lady, no older than about 25, standing in pajama pants and a bra, hair in a black messy bun. Strangely enough, she was also holding one of my empty laundry baskets. The door was open and the kitchen lights were blaring into my room. My sister sat up and said, "Oh my God!" My hand reflexively went to my belly. I think I probably peed myself a little, out of terror and pregnancy. I didn't have a gun or a knife around, so I sat there fat and helpless and terrified. The girl took a step back and stammered, I think I'm in the wrong apartment. Sorry. My sister takes medications to help her sleep, and she was kind of out of it. And being Canadian doesn't help. "Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay," she said, and went back to sleep. Right back to sleep. The girl backed up and immediately sprinted out of my apartment through my front door, only in her bra, and still holding my damn laundry basket. I sat there frozen for a good 15 minutes as the light from the sunrise started filling my room. Then suddenly, I picked up the phone, bursting into tears, and called my husband. I explained the situation to him, too afraid to get out of bed. I woke up my sister in an angry, terrified manner, asking her why the hell she told that girl it was okay that she was in my home, and that she was just sleeping. She sheepishly said she was a little sedated and was out of it. Well, sleepy my ass, you're gonna get up and help my fat ass waddle around the apartment and make sure it's all clear. We walk out into the living room, and the back sliding door is wide open, with cool morning air billowing in. This is how she got in the apartment. I close it and pull the lock on it, and give it a few tugs. It opens after a strong pull. Well, that explains it. I walk around the apartment, and when I get to the baby's room, a strange sight appeared. Some of the baby's clothes were on the floor, her dresser drawers open and clothes scattered, and there was a tiny black bra on the floor. My sister and I were certainly not A-cups, so this wasn't ours. After checking through her suitcase, we realized that our intruder had taken off her bra and put on my sister's bra. There was also no shirt to be found, so we have no idea whether she entered the apartment without a shirt or not. And finally, the clothes I had folded in my laundry basket on top of the dryer had been dumped on the floor. None of the clothes were taken, but the basket was gone. I opened our front door and peeked into the hallway, and no basket was there. My sister and I concluded that this must have been some drunk, there was a bar around the corner of my apartment, or a strung-out girl who had wandered in. I called that morning and reported it to the landlord, and got them to replace the back lock. I'm a 26-year-old woman living in a large Midwestern American city. I moved to the city about 4 years ago from the East Coast, leaving everything I knew behind after marrying my husband. I had graduated from college, gotten married, and moved 500 miles away from home, all in the span of 2 months. I was excited to live together with my husband after a 2-year long-distance relationship. It was the most logical sense for me to move to his state, as he was established in a trade in a city. Being newly married and starting over in a brand new city, money was scarce, even with both of us working full-time. We lived in a 700 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment in a notoriously poor and potentially dangerous part of town. Think miles and miles of asphalt, abandoned businesses, and malls with apartment complexes built in the 70s scattered throughout the area. Apartments were packed in close, with usually less than 50 yards between each unit building. One night around 3 a.m., my husband and I awoke to someone pounding hard on the front door. My heart leapt into my throat, and I went to meet the knocking. A fully uniformed fireman informed me quickly that the building next door was on fire, and we needed to evacuate our apartment immediately. I gave him my thanks, and ran inside to inform my husband and gather our 2 newly adopted kittens in their carrier. We made it out without much fuss, and were moved a safe distance away, with our building by the road, a center building and a third building in view. The center building burst with gray smoke, but we didn't see any flames. That was comforting. We checked on the status of some of the other evacuated people, but no one knew anything. After about half an hour, the emergency responders told us everything was safe and that we could go back to our respective buildings, adjacent to the one still smoking. The 2 fire trucks and 4 police cars were gone by the time we woke up the next morning. Typical of our apartment complex, we heard nothing about the incident following that night, though we had been told that an officer would be visiting soon. After a week, we figured out that it was only 1 apartment in the center building of 4 that fire severely damaged. However, that single unit was completely destroyed. From what we could see, the fire gutted the apartment, but caused no significant external damage to the building. We didn't know who lived there, as the general atmosphere of the complex didn't lend itself to friendliness. Broken glass peppered the tiny patch of grass outside the building's door. We continued our lives for another week or so. Soon, strange things began to occur inside and outside of our apartment. When we would walk to our cars in the parking lot, we smelled something disgusting. It was a rotten, pervasive smell that became so bad we had to walk out of our way to avoid it. We thought it was garbage or debris from the charred apartment, which remained mostly untouched. Inside our unit, our 2 cats began batting at and catching all types of insects, mostly flies and a few that crawled. Autumn had arrived, bringing cold weather, so we were unsure why the bugs were hanging around so long. We chalked it up to bad apartment construction and ceiling issues. About a month after the night of the fire, we awoke one morning to a call from my father-in-law. He asked us if we were all right. "What do you mean?" my husband said. "They found a body in your apartment complex," my father-in-law responded. We told him we were okay, and immediately took to the local TV stations and the internet. Reports were coming in that human remains had been found in the apartment that had been destroyed by the fire. Later, we stepped outside to reveal yellow caution tape surrounding that center building. Police sequestered the entire lot for investigation. News vans and camera crews zoomed up as they were permitted, and even waited outside the complex near the busy highway to get closer to the developing story. We continued to search for information, as again we received no information from the apartment complex or law enforcement on what had actually occurred. All of the details we discovered about the fire and the subsequent discovery of the body were obtained indirectly through news resources in small bits. The horror of realizing that we had been living only 100 yards away from a decomposing corpse struck us in a disorienting blow. The horrible smell, the bugs, all of it because of the body that had languished there for a month, stinking and forgotten. Additionally, the police showed up to investigate because the small immigrant family living upstairs in the center building called the leasing office to report an awful smell. Our stomachs flipped over. My husband, a butcher by trade, had to be sent home from work that day because he had been vomiting when trying to work with the raw meat. We didn't sleep well for months after that. Slowly, we came across more details about the incident. The same day that the fire occurred, the tenant of the burnt apartment had reported her boyfriend missing. The body the police found in the apartment was later identified as Darren Anderson, her boyfriend. It took an inordinately long time to identify the body, as it was badly burned. We had no idea who the tenant was, and didn't know where she went after the fire. Her whereabouts were never reported. The police and fire departments faced heavy scrutiny at their apparent negligence, as it was suggested that the man died the night of the fire. However, the articles I've attached in the description indicate that his cause of death was not determined. I just have so many questions. How did the police and fire department not discover an adult man's body in an apartment so small? Our apartment was identical in layout to the burnt apartment. There was very little storage space, and nowhere to really hide anything, let alone a body. Is there a correlation between his apparent disappearance and death? What role did the female tenant, his alleged girlfriend, play in the incident? Why did the apartment complex hardly enter the apartment to clean or repair the immolated unit in the month following the fire? As far as I can tell, it was all ruled accidental. We still don't even know the cause of the fire. We sent a letter to the leasing office indicating that their negligence in cleaning and investigating the apartment violated the terms of our lease. They responded that we should get a lawyer if we wanted to break our contract, and at that point, we couldn't afford one. We stayed there for almost 2 more years, moving in 2 other separate units on the property. The second apartment had a closet full of black mold. In 2015, we finally left and moved into a better part of town. But I think about that fire and the smell often, and I still have so many questions. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. If you would like a chance to have your story featured in an upcoming video, make sure you email it to urmaker6260@gmail.com. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true.